Spawn, who we'll be hearing from plenty here today, as well as some words from No Man's, as we have an interview lined up. We'll finally be finding out exactly where these teams will be competing during the group stage. We do have a moment before that happens. Spawn, we had a whole best of 5 between the first one we had of the day, where we got to hear from you a bit on the analyst desk. As swift as it was, what was your reaction to this Unicorns of Love victory?
Yeah, I mean, this time around, I actually came in with pretty high expectations for Supermassive. I thought that they were definitely going to have a stronger top side of Summoner's Rift. However, UOL just flipped the script. This was incredibly decisive. Their team fighting was so good. Even from deficits, they were able to eke themselves out advantages. And I also think their neutral objective control was quite good in this best of 5. So, you know, hats off to Unicorns of Love. They definitely appeared to be the better team.
Yeah, we saw some very amazing performances from all of the players during that series. And let's go ahead and zone in on one of those in our Every Second Counts, powered by Cisco, where we saw Gadget and Boss really putting the work down with their fast reaction Raz in the bot lane.
Yeah, this one was just Gadget styling, because Snowflower tried to set up the play for the Misfortune, completely whiffed, and Gadget just went wild. Gadget's had such a damn good tournament so far.
Yeah, I mean, that was such a sick play. It was the second time in a row he'd actually done that. There's a team fight earlier where he was able to kite out the Rakan engage. Just super intelligent play out of him, and someone who I'm excited to watch more of as the tournament goes on, now that they have qualified into the actual group stage of the tournament.
Yeah, I was just wanted to put in there the fact that he is playing really well on conventional AD carries, and he showed that at the back half of the play-in tournament. In the first half of the play-in tournament, he just showed incredible depth in champion pool, so definitely a player to watch out for.
And that's exactly what we want to see from these play-ins, right? The players that we are wanting to watch when they go into the group stage and are truly put to the test. And as we mentioned before, the draw itself is going to be underway momentarily in Shanghai, and we're going to be watching exactly where these 4 teams will be advancing and sorted within the 4 groups that are available. This will be conducted by LPL host Candice and will feature Team WE Jiaomeng, the LPL rookie of the split for summer 2020. Fellas, are you ready?
Yes!
Where the fates are held.
Let's go!
I'm excited. I'm a pessimistic NA fan, so I assume the worst, but hope for the best.
That's really all you can do, right? I mean, interesting thing about this, though, is we kind of potentially have everything determined.
Yes.
Exactly off of the very first draw, Raz.
So if Unicorns of Love gets slotted into Group A, and it's then everything is decided. Then Team Liquid goes into Group B, PSG goes into Group D. This is all incredibly quickly. We'll just have to see how it goes, though.
Little tidbits for the audience. So LGD must go into Group C. That's already decided, taken off of the table. Team Liquid cannot go into Group D, and PSG cannot go into Group A. And soon enough, we're going to be finding out which is the first team to be sorted.
And I'm glad I'm with a lot of other people that love to do the playoff math, because I'm just that person that always just waits to see the balls open and the group drop in, because, you know, it's very tough to be able to keep up with everything. But PSG will be picked up first, and I believe, don't quote me on it, does that mean they
celebration?
Yeah, I should go to Group B.
All right. Yeah, so this does mean that PSG should be slotting themselves into Group B, which, interestingly enough, Mark, this does affect the fate of our LCS representative.
Yes, I mean, this, like we said, can get decided right away. Team Liquid now has to go into Group A because LG has to go in Group C, and D is the only one left. So still some formalities to go through with picking out all the balls and showing them all out, but it's actually pretty much decided from here. There you see LGD, and they the only group that doesn't have a Chinese team in it right now is Group C. So there they go right into there.
So Group B and Group C already decided, leaving very little to fate for the rest. That means that we know where the rest will happen. But is there a reason that either of the teams should be excited so far, Spawn, for the way things have played out, whether it be PSG Talon or even Team Liquid?
I mean, when you have a look at PSG Talon, they're probably wringing their hands because they've just been put into a group with JDG as well as Damwon Gaming, and Rogue on their best days, I feel like, can also cause some big upsets. Team Liquid, on the other hand, they go into a group with Suning, who have limited international experience. G2, who did appear to be slumping, but they certainly ramped it back up in the end of the LEC split. And Machi, who I think is probably the weakest Seed 1 team coming out of a major region. So I think Team Liquid fans should be certainly happy with Group A. If there is a team that they can do a group they can do damage in, it probably is that group. I still don't have them earmarked for favorites, but we'll get into the nitty-gritty a little bit later.
And Unicorns of Love officially drawn from the bucket, and that means they will be placed over into Group D to round things out. And hey, if anyone was tuning into that last series, it's definitely going to invigorate you going forth into groups in terms of just having a good time watching what Unicorns of Love bring to the table.
Yeah, they're such a fun team to watch, Unicorns of Love. I mean, you always go straight into how their drafts have played out. I was always interested in how they set up the map, and because they're such a great team fighting squad, and they've, I think, done a great job, like Spawn said a little earlier on, in setting up their type of fight. So for sure, like the quote-unquote wild card in Group D, like Top Esports and FlyQuest, and DRX should not kind of be resting on their laurels when they go up against this team, because it's a best-of-1 environment. Like if you lose that game, it feels awful, and we've seen those experiences in the past with Albus Nox Luna.
Right, now that we do know where everything is going down, though, I do want to take it group by group. In Group A, that is where Team Liquid has been slotted. Spawn already gave some initial thoughts that we'll dive into a bit deeper on how these teams are. But I actually want to start off with you, Raz, because when we were just talking, generally speaking, going into this, you seem to have a bit different, I guess, tier list in the way the teams are playing out in Group A than the other analysts we have here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Suning are an incredibly strong team. I know they're the C3 team. They've at least in the back half of the split, have shown a strong showing. They had like a 7-series win streak in the regular season on the back half of it. Their playoff run was great until they went against Top Esports, the Seed 1 team. Like they're such a strong team across the map. I think their bot lane and of course jungle, like SOFM is a fantastic jungler coming into this one. I would put them in first place, and I would have G2 as a second place team. I think it's going to be a tough one. For Team Liquid and Machi, I would slot Machi as a last place team, and I think it's going to be between the Western teams to fight for second.
Yeah, I also think Machi does get a little bit of a positive light shine on them with PSG's performance in the play-in stage and how dominant they looked. I do think it's going to give people a little bit more of a concern about how well Machi's going to play, but it is an interesting situation with how these teams play. Wunder is always fantastic come Worlds. You know, he's a bit of a clutch player in that sense, where he's playing WoW during the regular season. He's memeing about how he doesn't care, and then he gets onto the world stage and he's one of the best top laners every year. Then you also have Bin, who is a monster carry threat. He's still really young, but does like playing those carry versus carry matchups. Team Liquid is as far away from those playstyles as you can imagine, where Impact is pretty much always just the weak side player. So I think you'll see a lot of cool style clashes in this group as well.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to mention, is that at the moment, we have two teams that are going to play very slow in Machi as well as TL, and very much group up around objectives, and two teams that play like blitz style League of Legends. You know, that old creative style that we like, style of me, especially in the jungle position for Suning. He's very much like take small skirmishes and generate numbers mismatches by being very decisive in his play. It's always been something to look out for, is his raw aggression and his ability to invade off specific backs. So, I mean, I'm very excited about the Suning team. I do want to reiterate, however, that, you know, once again, whilst there are a few members that have played for a while, this team internationally is untested, and we have seen LPL teams in the past show up untested and falter in best of ones. Because you got to remember, this region plays primarily best of threes into best of five, so best of ones can catch them off guard just a little bit at the start of the tournament.
I think also Team Liquid did have a really good showing in play-ins, and I think a lot of North American fans can be happy about how well they played, but it is kind of one of those like shonen anime arcs, you know, where it's like, and now the real test begins, you know, like you kind of got through that first arc, and now it's where everyone becomes such monsters. And this is where I think some of the concerns that people had about North America coming into this competition, about the slow play, about the lack of topside, carry threats for some of their teams like FlyQuest as well. Like this is when you'll start seeing if they get exposed, or if they were playing a better style than we anticipated all along. These are the teams that were going to exploit it. I think a lot of people should have been confident about TL in play-ins, and it's a totally different